The end of last week's race was about as unpredictable as we could have asked for. Strategy gambles, wrecks, one-lap shootouts, and surprise victories will be hard to top. But then you have to remember that we're at Martinsville. Drivers may try to have a strategy entering the paperclip, but it all flies out the window eventually at this half-miler. Let's see how it all shakes out as we get ready to watch round 6 of the PRL NASCAR Truck Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Adam, one thing is for sure, with this being the shortest track they've run so far this season, we sure ain't in Kansas anymore.
Yeah, Joe, we're actually going to tornado these teams nearly 1,000 miles east of Virginia. Martinsville Speedway, the Augusta National of racetracks. This track, often affectionately called the Paperclip, as Joe mentioned, is a half mile or 0.85 kilometers of mayhem, featuring the first multi-track surface in NASCAR history, with the turns being concrete and the straights being asphalt. Through the turns may be banked at 12 degrees, it feels like nothing when you're in the cockpit of a vehicle. The pit road around Martinsville is fairly normal for smaller tracks, but it's worth noting, like last week, it exits on the backstretch, but as you can see, the entrance is actually before turn 3, making the filtering of hitters much easier under green flag conditions. While the track surface may feel small at 55 feet wide, there's enough room to run 3 wide momentarily here, but the truckers will want to stick to that single concrete racing line around the corners or risk washing out and hitting the wall. With the grass apron in the turns, diving low into a corner isn't on the cards either, making this place especially difficult to make a pass without using the chrome horn and moving somebody. There's even more to talk about here, but let's jump right in and take a ride around Martinsville in a NASCAR Gander Outdoor Series truck in our GSRC lap guide.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel. My name is Brian Yazdick and I'll be taking you for a spin around Martinsville Speedway in the GSRC Silverado.
I am entirely distracted by watching them mess around to the infield.
That's why I kept losing my place.
You'll find yourself in victory lane today. So setting up the entrance into the corner is important, as you see here, trying to find that curbing on the inside of the track. But don't get too low because then the car will actually jump out on you. Back down into turn 3.
That would be fun with all the places you can hide into the gas. Trucks and
now your braking point here is probably a little bit later than you would be in the Cup car, just because of the lack of power. But too far down, and that's what happens to you right there. You get a little squirrely on entrance, and it basically kills your whole run off of the back straightaway. So back down into turn 3, float it through the middle on the brakes, still back into the gas really hard. Let that truck surge out of the corner. Back down into turn 1 one more time, float it through the middle, on the brakes, very lightly, back into the gas extremely quickly.
Is that a new thing?
Coming back down into turn 3,
has it always been
you're going to, once again, find the bottom. And Martinsville is a very rhythm-based track, so what'll happen is you find yourself in a nice little rhythm. You can kind of float the truck in the way you like it. But the right rear tire is going to be your best friend. If you abuse it too much early on in the run, it will make you pay later in the run, because coming off the corners, you're going to be sideways the entire way off of the corner. Martinsville puts on a great show. It's a fun little paperclip track. The winner today will be the one that does not have any scratches, or at least the least amount of scratches on their vehicle. My name is Brian Yazdick, and this is Martinsville Speedway.
You see a few laps around Martinsville Speedway, but this could throw the championship around depending on how much they're able to stay away from trouble out there, which will be difficult. Holly was not able to do so last round, but the important thing for him was that both Hartman and Williams also ran into issues. Hartman really the least of them in terms of getting the worst of it. Now, Brennan Chatley jumps up a little bit with his win last week. John LaBaff still in a close fight with him. In fact, you look at 2nd through 5th, and they are not too far apart from one another, about 12 points separating all of those 4. Let's take a look at the team's championship as well. Adam, how's that sitting?
Yeah, it's very similar with second and through fifth, very tight together. But what about back row racing? Actually benefiting from Colton Lane, the second runner on that team, finishing second last week, even though Bradley Hawley wrecked out and went to the back of the field. And so they're very much safely still ahead with 43 points over Whataback, the other guys who struggled last night with similar issues, last week with similar issues. So the points championship still very comfortable lead for back row racing right now.
Now, if you've never watched the PRL NASCAR Truck Series before, here's what we've got tonight. It is 140 laps, but it's limited to 60 minutes. So we're not sure if we're going to be able to make those 140 laps. It'll depend on how those cautions play out. And thus far this season, they've not had good luck in reaching the full amount of laps. It is a fixed setup in this series, so drivers will be able to worry more about their driving than they are just tweaking under the hood. And we do have a single green-white checkers. Now, there's also an incident limit. If you've been watching the past couple of weeks, you saw that it was at 13. They bumped that up to 17 here. Thank goodness, with it being Martinsville. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to avoid some 4X contact throughout the course of this race. Right now, we've got qualifying underway, and it's 2 laps, but the laps go by quickly out here. So we've already got a number of drivers out here, Adam, who've got theirs in, and Hartman holds the provisional pole.
Yes, but he holds it at a 19.66, which, while it's the fastest time on the board right now, Bradley Hawley put it at 19.34 and Rachel Hunt a 19.44 in practice. So there's definitely room to get under that.
Temperatures are pretty hot out here today as well. They've gone down about a degree since we saw in practice, which was at 107. It's now at 106 Fahrenheit. Hawley's just headed out as we watch Adam Shane work on his qualifying lap.
Yeah, definitely. Temperatures a whopping 6 degrees over the record temperature in Virginia. They're really having a hot fall this fall in the virtual world with Brendan Chatley racing around here. We're going to see what kind of time he can put in for his first time lap.
19.6, and right off the bat, he is up to second place, just ahead of Rob Haynes by about 3/100ths of a second. But can he go quicker on the second time around, or is all the good out of that rubber? He comes to the line. A 19.699 will stay his quickest. He's about 0.2 slower.
So that means William Hartman, unless Rachel Hunt can pull something out of the bag, which I don't believe she has put in. She has put in a time. She's currently 11th. That puts William Hartman pretty securely in a really good spot to hold on to pole right now.
Yeah, Hunt, who's been quick recently, doesn't seem to be as good at this half-miler. It's very different from the last 2 rounds that we saw. So we watch Paul Williams now come around, trying to square off the corners. Richter, in the meantime, has finished his 2 laps, and that puts him in 20th. So what can Paul do? Again, one of our championship hopefuls. His first time looks like it didn't count, and his second one, he goes in deep as well. So this is going to put him all the way at the back.
Yeah, but Frank Peacock's not going to be able to set a competitive time either. He's only got the 12th position sewn up. So Paul Williams, he's not going to be happy with this qualifying. It's going to put him down probably towards the back of the pack, considering that all these laps are pretty much securely under 1.5 seconds now with Peacock.
It's going to be a close field. So let's go through your starting order for today. William Hartman puts it on pole with Bradley Hawley next to him, the same front row that we had last round. We'll see how that winds up after all is said and done, though. Rob Haynes will be starting in 3rd with Robert Besaw Jr. in 4th. Daniel Knight returns. Glad to see him back. One of our 4 winners so far this season will be P5 with Colton Lane starting in 6th. Mark Kalin, nice qualifying from him in P7. Charles Sumner starts in 8th, and Josue Telez will start in 9th. Top 10 rounded out by last round's winner, Brendan Chatley.
Row 6 is going to be started off by Rachel Hunt, a full 0.6 off of her time in practice, with Frank Peacock starting alongside her in 12th position. Adam Shane is going to start off in that Baker's Dozen position alongside Jalen Battle in row 7. Nick Schmeg back here in the race tonight, starting off 15th alongside Adam Zemke. Dominic Bajin on row 9 alongside Robert Malikian, and John LaBaff and Mike Richter round out your top 20.
21st goes to Austin Hunter with Blaine Adams starting in the 22nd spot. Then you've got Barron Hilton in 23rd. Trevor White, who had an unfortunate incident on the back stretch of Iowa, Kansas starts in 24th with Nick Hunter starting P25. Paul Williams, the last driver to get a time in at 26. I'm not sure if that's by design, but for these drivers, it appears to be Doyle Lawrence, Adam Young, and Zach Zwar did not put times in. But Zach does not appear to be in the session, so it looks like we'll have a 28-car field here for today's round as we wait for the Mustang pace car to lead them away. Something to note, though, if you are watching for the first time or haven't watched very regularly, there are bonus points that are up for grabs, and that can affect the championship as well. Pole position, the bonus for this round will go to William Hartman. He'll get 2 for that. Most laps led, is also 2 points. We get 1 for leading a lap, 1 for fastest lap, and 1 for 3 incidents or less. If anybody gets 3 incidents or less around here, Adam, I will be majorly impressed.
Yeah, that's really hard to do. Frankly, I would be surprised if we didn't see some DNFs today due to incidents tonight. It's going to be very difficult for these drivers to be able to hang on, and the pace laps also come quickly, the caution laps, so expect to see some short cautions when things do occur.
Yep, and we will have 2 pace laps around here since it is less than a mile. So they're going to come around this time, and then on the back stretch, that Mustang pace car will let them go. And Hartman will have control of the field.
Yeah, big surprise for me in qualifying was actually Paul Williams, the number 7 truck. He starts off in the P26 way back in the field after having such a good run last week until his wreck. It's really surprising to see him start that far back.
I suspect he might be trying to play a little bit of pit strategy back there to get himself forward and just staying away from everything, making sure he's not in the middle of the field. All right, Mustang pace car is in. The 67 has control as they come around the concrete of 3 and 4. Waiting to bring them around. Green flag is out. And it's a decent jump, but he's not fully clear of Holly, but Holly's going to want to get down soon. He doesn't have an opening to the underside because Rob Haynes manages to get beneath him through 1 and 2. Most everybody still double file as they come down the backstretch, but sending it deep into 3. Holly manages to get back into second.
Holly doing a good job defending his position in second place, but they're very tight in the middle of that pack with quite a few trucks struggling with grip at the back of the field. But Bradley Holly doing a good job keeping that truck under control. Wheel hopping is an issue, as you saw mentioned in our track guide. And so Bradley Holly doing a good job of sitting it really deep in the corner, battling for first.
97 and 17 sorted that out for 4th place as Knight taking that P4 ahead of Besaw. And then behind them, mostly getting single file, a little bit of bumping and banging already. I just saw Colton Lane get a shot from Hunt. And that's actually causing a bit of a chain reaction as she checks up. And that's down Chatley behind her.
Yep, that's going to be Chatley and Shane really duking it out now for that 12th position. And we have some other changing of position going on in the back of the field. Nicholas Hunter dropping to the back. Looks like he doesn't have any damage, but he's just dropping to the back right now. So this is the best battle we have on track right now. 2 wide. And wow, look at that. That's Shane getting into the wall on the outside, I believe. That's Chatley in the wall.
Chatley with the white top on his truck that you see, the mostly red truck, is Adam Shane. He's still working on this, and it's taken him quite a while. It's causing them to lose touch with the pink car of Hunt in front of them. There you see her starting to run away, but now finally Chatley gets the good exit and is able to solidify 11th.
Yep. Rachel Hunt starting to pull away now, and we're going to go on board with her. Take a look at that gap behind her. That's a good gap around Martinsville, but it can close very quickly if the cars ahead of you or if the trucks ahead of you are keeping you held up. So look at this. Starting to close in a little bit as Chatley now. Oh, looks like Bradley Holly's going to go for a move here on William Hartman. Oh, no. Hartman breaks hard into the corner, is able to hold him off.
Had a poke to the inside, but the 184 very quickly got himself back ahead of the number 29 in the first lap, and has since been glued to the rear as he once again ducks underneath William Hartman. Almost looked like he was going to move him.
Yeah, Holly's been sticking his nose down there quite a bit. It's making me a little bit nervous if I'm William Hartman, because it just takes one bad exit for Bradley Holly to spin you right down to the bottom of the track. It looks like Holly, no concern there. He's got enough confidence to hang right there on his bumper.
With Holly holding that low line, though, right down to the yellow curb, I know in past broadcasts here, some of our commentators have talked about the troubles with that curb with the cup cars. What about here with these trucks? Is it just as dangerous to try and touch that?
I mean, it's definitely dangerous. It's going to push you out wide, but I wouldn't expect to look at that. Bradley Holly getting a little bit loose on the exit. He's still shifting down into third, which is surprising this far into a run. Yeah, I would think you'd want to be more hanging out in fourth gear and not burning off those rear tires as much. But the curb, yes, it's a concern, but I would trust Bradley Holly to know his truck control a little bit more to be able to hold on to that. And we've got a caution.
And yet that's Hilton, who has turned around on the front stretch, and he's blown his engine. And I think this happened out of turn 4. Yeah, it was a single truck incident. Actually, I take that back. Poor Adam Young, who is a little bit under the weather tonight, and looks like he might call it a day because he caught a little bit of it at the very end. We're going to watch the number 13 right there, the white truck.
He's exiting in on a line he's not used to and just spins the rear tires and it sends him into the inside wall. And that definitely is not an insignificant amount of damage for Adam Young.
Hilton has kept going around despite the smoke. We're going to watch from Adam's perspective. I can tell you that pretty much everybody has come into the pits since then. He tried to pull it as far over as he could go and just wasn't enough. Look, it looks like Battle, LeBaff, Richter, Williams, and Bajin stay out. Remember I said Williams might be playing some strategy games, so he's getting that track position that he was probably wanting, as Bajin is going to come in.
There is one more driver who decided to play strategy games, and that's Jose Tellez. He's actually just pulled out with 2-tire stop.
Ooh.
2 drivers actually managed not to hit their pit boxes down when they went down pit road. That was Mark Kalin and Nicholas Hunter. I believe that Mark Kalin actually hit his, but I don't think Nicholas Hunter managed to hit his box.
So this promotes Jalen Battle to the lead. And I'm seeing Trevor White coming in as well now. Not sure what that's about, as I think he was already in. So Jalen Battle, your new leader. LeBaff is in second, Richter third, and Williams fourth. Those are the only 4 that have not come in for fuel or tires as we go double file to get the restart. They had about 10 laps under green. What do you think of that call? Oh, and we're not going green this time by. They've delayed the restart here. Well, that gives us time to ask the question that I wanted to. Adam, what do you think of this 2-tire call with only 10 laps out there? Does that seem smart?
2 tires seems fine to me. It's the guys who are staying out that really it's sketchy for me. I think that is a really, really dangerous move to make this early on. You have a lot of potential for tire spin because you're going to want to be in third gear around these turns on a restart. And with hot tires and old tires, you're just going to spin your tires coming off the corners. It's going to give opportunities to those behind you and likely cause another wreck. But maybe that's what they want.
Well, they want another wreck, I'm sure, so that they can get a stop, but they probably don't want to be the wreck. Let's see how that works out for Jalen Battle, who is coming around 3 and 4 right now. The 28 back up at the front with old tires, and it looks pretty good off the line, actually, as he's well clear of John LeBaff, who immediately goes low to cover off those behind him. Williams up on the high side, almost out to the marbles as he slips wide, and that loses him a couple more positions.
We got 3 wide in the back of the pack. Rachel Hunt losing traction off the exit of the corner. She's got it. She has to go around a couple of other trucks, and we have the 83 going around in the back. The 83 and the 86.
And no caution yet. Truck completely around. Dominic Bajin got completely turned. Now we got a caution.
Yep, and the 24 has also hit the wall, it looks like. So quite a few incidents happening.
So it looks like the first one was with Hunter flipping Adam Shane. 3. That turns him around. That just barely gets Bajin into the left rear. Bajin goes around, and unfortunately, in all of that, it looks like Blaine Adams tries to get woed up, but not everybody got the memo.
Can we go on board with Bradley Hawley through all of this mess? He has collected significant damage, and I think he's going to be out of this race, Joe.
Ooh, big championship implications there. Now, Holly was in front of all this, it looks like.
Yes, but with the delayed caution, they came up on this accident after it had happened. Oh, he actually sent the 24 around.
Wow. So a completely separate incident.
Oh, man.
Let's watch this from a different angle. I wonder if he checked up because of the caution, if the 24 saw it before the 184 did.
And that gave William Hartman some significant damage too. I think he's going to be able to keep rolling, but Howley's got some significant engine damage.
So the one this helps is Williams, I believe. Or wait, no, was Williams the one involved, or was it Hartman?
Hartman was involved, but he's back out. He's managed to stay on the lead lap just barely. Colton Lane is the Whataback Back Row Racing competitor who's come out best of this. He's in P5 right now. This is Bradley Hawley's teammate Colton Lane that we're riding on board with right now, and he's currently in the best point scoring position of those two leading teams.
Now, I was trying to keep track of our championship leaders, and Paul Williams came in and pitted, so that put him down in the mid-pack, but he's in a second time now. And I looked, and it didn't seem like he got damaged, so I'm not sure what the 7 is doing exactly, unless he's intentionally, once again, putting himself at the very back of the field, just so that he can try and stay out of trouble. But that's giving himself a big mountain to climb.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. It might be fuel strategy as well, trying to get that fuel requirement done and make sure he can make it at the end. That could be what's going on here, but yeah, interesting development for sure.
We still have 3 drivers who have not come in to the pits at all. That is Battle, LaBath, and Richter. They stayed out. Kalen, since, well, actually, no, Kalen, I'm seeing a 0 next to him, even though he's got time in his pit lane, so maybe he just started from pit lane? Not sure what's going on there. Anyways, I'll try to get that sorted out with my timing and scoring, but Battle's going to try and sort out who can win today from the lead as he takes his second restart. Not as good as we saw as the last one. And John LaBath to his outside is going to try and take it deep to see if he can get in front. That's going to backfire. He goes a little bit too hot into the corner, down to his inside. That is Richter, who is going to be able to get ahead down into 3, almost 3 wide behind them is Colton Lane as well, drifting up into the gray stuff.
It definitely was 3 wide coming off the corner, and that was the 21 of Adam Zemke that had to back out of it, and now he's trapped on the high side, along with a couple of other drivers, such as Rob Haynes, who just is able to clear, and Nick Schmeg, who just comes through in front of Austin Hunter, but isn't able to get to the bottom. The 21 being forced up to the high side again, and he's going to get spun in front of the field.
Oh, but it's a big mess. That's Hunt getting involved. Adam Zemke in there. I believe Zemke was the first one to get turned.
And we're going to take a look at this. Yeah, we're going to take a look at this accident and Adam Zemke getting turned by Malikian here. And if we can actually go on board with Nick Schmeg, he gets kind of punted through this accident and picks up a little bit of damage, but I think he's going to be able to keep rolling.
He took a couple shots, including one to the left front, so he might have suspension damage from that. Haynes had a similar thing. He's the one that you see right down there below in the 29. I think Haynes got through it cleaner than Nick did. You can see how much he got banged around. Boy, there were a lot of trucks involved in that one. We're seeing a number of them come down into pit lane. Haynes is one of them. I see Battle actually coming in from the lead. Richter also pitting. LaBath, the only one electing to stay out.
All right, Joe, we are closing in on a fifth of the way through this race, and I don't think we have a clean truck in the field.
Well, we talked about that last week, that things were looking a little bit like that. So many trucks getting damage, and well, they've already got the experience for that, I suppose. Now, One thing that's interesting is that both LaBaff and Kalen have continued to stay out. Here's a wild strategy call for you, Adam. If we get enough cautions, could you potentially make the whole race without a stop?
I mean, it's a timed race, so I definitely think that's a possibility. But also, staying out in front means you're not involved in the craziness of the wrecks. So, I mean, like, it's a good strategy as far as conservation as well. And I think now that we're looking at other drivers with damage, such as Brendan Chatley, Nick Schmeg, Jalen Battle, these guys who have made it all the way forward are probably going to want to stay out as much as possible at this stage in the game.
What's even crazier is we are only 28 laps in, and we have only 11 trucks on the lead lap. That's how many have had to come in and get repairs so far.
I mean, it's completely insane. Bradley Hawley is currently still in the pits. He's getting more damage repair done. William Hartman is actually out of this race now, so that affects the points championship significantly. Paul Williams is a lap down, so the only one of the 2 points leaders that we have who are running strong right now is Colton Lane for Whataback Back Row Racing in that 3rd position.
I'm actually having to put my championship standings on a separate screen here now so I can watch this and try to keep track of how things are amongst our front runners in the points versus front runners here on the track. As you see, we've gone double file. Because again, this is going to have some big implications. Anybody who is out a drop week already due to a bad result is going to feel it today. So let's get restarted on lap 31 out of potentially 140. And instead, this time it's going to be John LaBaff who leads them back. LaBaff on the throttle early, but so is Kalen, not early enough. Down to the inside, here comes Colton Lane with a great shot up to the inside of turns 1 and 2. That gets him 2nd place. Kalen already under attack from last week's winner. It's Chatley coming forward, one of our top 5 in the points. He could be well clear of a lot of mess if he can manage to get up to the podium. He gets a little help from behind from Peacock. Meanwhile, that's going to slow Peacock up and allow Jalen Battle to catch back up.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. Kalen just trying to hang on the outside. He's trying to get room to get low, but he's not being allowed to by Mike Richter, who's going to go below him as well. So that's going to allow Richter to sneak through. Actually, that's the 28 of Jalen Battle who's battling with him right now. And Mike Richter's next in line, but Kalen should have a gap behind Battle. Is Richter going to dive for it? He looks like he is, but no, not enough room. He runs into the back of him instead, gives him a little bit of that chrome horn.
Kalen just flipping Battle low, and there comes Richter this time. Down into 3, sending it deep. Mugged him, but can he get the acceleration off the corner? Kalen's going to try and deny him, but he is now well behind. He knows it. He eventually gives up the ghost and allows Richter through into the 6th position. Something worth noting, LaBaff is 5th in the points. He is directly behind Chatley, and LaBaff was leading this race, but now it is Colton Lane who finds himself up into 1st.
Colton Lane doing a good job of holding that position right now. He's been really slow into the corners, which is actually bunching up the group behind him. They're actually within 2 seconds all the way back to 8th, which is Nick Schmeg. So all of these trucks just trying to hang on because most of them are damaged.
Don't forget, LaBaff is on old tires, and I think he's starting to feel it now that we're getting a little bit of a decent green flag run, because there goes Chatley down to his inside.
Oh, the 8 truck is around. He's going to be able to save it, but that was really close. That was the 8 truck. That was Trevor White who almost spun out. And look at this, the lead also having some interesting moments with the lap cars.
Yeah, with so many cars or trucks a lap down, there's a lot of them out there. Poor LaBaff is caught on the outside now that he's suffering from that old rubber underneath him. Jalen Battle is going to manage to get through into 4th. Peacock is now up into P3 amidst all of this chaos. But Colton Lane stretching away by nearly a second now. And on a half-mile track, that is a big gap.
Yeah, Colton Lane knows that with Bradley Hawley still in the pits for engine repairs, he's his team's best shot at holding on to that points championship lead. So Colton Lane doing a good job of trying to hold that down. And he's really starting to stretch away.
So we take a look at Colton Lane now putting a lap on Nick Hunter, who's going to slot in between himself and Chatley. and then let both of them go. We got a bit of a battle behind them for third. Peacock has got a charging Jalen battle all over his rear spoiler.
Yeah, Peacock is doing what he can to hold it down, but those worn tires are starting to bite back at him. Jalen battle on 13 lap old tires with Frank Peacock with 28 lap old tires, and then behind them we have John LaBaffe, who hasn't pit for tires yet. So a lot of different strategies playing out right now.
Not what we expected after the implications of the first couple cautions, but now everybody's settling in, and it's throwing the cat amongst the pigeons. Worth also noting that Chatley, who is in second right now and in fourth in the points, is the only within the top 8 that is an independent driver. No teammate out there.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also another battle that's actually heating up on track that I want to talk about, and it's the battle for the lucky dog between Paul Williams and Adam Shane, 12th and 13th positions. These two guys are duking it out right now for the lucky dog position. Whoever of them is in front of the other one when the next yellow flag comes out, they will get the lucky dog and be able to wait around to the lead lap. So this is a really important battle for points and track position.
And based on the number 7 speed so far this season, you have to think that if he gets back on the lead lap, that's bad news for our leaders.
Oh, here comes...
Still being shuttled by Shane.
Yeah, Shane's coming around the outside. I don't know whether Paul Williams is down on speed or something, but Shane really strong on the outside there. He's going to try and make this work, even with the lap truck of Nicholas Hunter coming up.
And they're going to go 3 wide with the lap traffic. That makes the 83 think twice about things, and he backs off. He gets back in line behind the number 7. They're on pretty equal tires to one another. 20 lap stints, 17 lap stints respectively for Williams and Shane. It's got to be something with damage with the way we saw the number 7 duck in twice. A little peek to the inside from the 29 of Haynes in 8th, who's looking to put a lap on these two.
Shane just sticking to that outside line. He's really trying to make it work right now. And it seems to be working pretty well through the corners. They just can't get the speed off that Williams can. He's going to try it again.
That's opening up that low line for the lapper of Rob Haynes, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but again, it could force him into a position he doesn't want to be in. A lot more slow trucks now suffering with some horrible speed. The 13 of Hilton trying to stay to the outside. So is Blaine Adams there with him as Hilton goes into the wall.
Yeah, Hilton's just going into the wall, trying to stay out of the way. He's going to be able to keep it clean, but these two still duking it out. And while these two have been duking it out, the battle for second position has continued to stay hot between Brendan Chatley and Frank Peacock. Peacock has actually been gaining a little bit in the last couple laps because they're putting significant pressure on Chatley, but Chatley's holding strong and just holding his line and staying consistent.
Yeah, Peacock was quite a ways back from what I remember. I'm also seeing that John LaBaffe has not fallen off a lot more lately. He's still kind of holding on to this top group. He's in 5th place. I wonder if the tires are starting to even out between the drivers who've recently pitted and those who stayed out.
Yeah, John LaBaffe is doing a good job. You really want to be under 1 second to the trucks ahead of you, and he's doing a great job of hanging on to the back of that group. Just kind of managing his stuff, staying in 4th gear, it sounds like, through the corners here. Nope, he's still shifting down to 3rd, so a lot of these truck drivers still shifting down to 3rd through the corners, which does wear your tires a little bit faster and risks you for wheel hopping, but we haven't seen any of that issue today, but he's doing a good job.
Meanwhile, you can see up ahead that Peacock, just in front of Battle, has not been able to threaten Chatley as much as we anticipated. Maybe lap traffic could come into play because they're continuing to have to cycle their way through that. Charles Sumner is the next one, and the number 98. He's doing the polite thing. He's going to stay out of the concrete line.
And I can report that Adam Shane has gotten around Paul Williams on the outside. Looks like Paul Williams is struggling with severe grip problems in his truck right now. So he's actually dropping almost a full straightaway behind Shane and having to let faster trucks by.
More than a third of the way through this race now. And we've really cleaned things up, although it is still a little bit confusing probably to try and tell who exactly racing against out there. There you see the 83, our current lucky dog, if we get another caution, as long as he's not in the caution.
Yep, and that's definitely a risk around here. You just need to keep your nose clean, and that's something that's really difficult to do. Adam Shane already with significant damage, but he's not put away the fight. He's still battling out there. And actually, we have a change of position between second, third, and fourth. Frank Peacock has actually lost it coming out of turn 4 a couple laps ago. Jalen Battle was able to get by, and now Jalen putting significant pressure on Brendan Shatley.
Georgia driver clearly looking strong. Let's take a look at that pass.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I took a little look on the inside there in 3, but couldn't make it happen. Here's the replay on the overtake. Ooh. Just got loose off the corner there.
Yeah, Peacock just spinning his tires in that third gear, getting loose off the corner, and that just allowed Jalen Battle to slip right by.
I don't think Battle's done with his climb forward. This is Shatley just in front of him now. As we ride on board with Peacock, you can see both of them. And that's a little bobble from Shatley off the corner. He's on 45 lap old tires. Woo, he's been out there for a while, actually.
Yeah, John, if you think he's been out there for a while, John LaBath behind Peacock has been out there for 57, 58 laps now. So a lot of these drivers are crying for a caution.
Battle himself has about 31 laps on those tires, and he definitely got into the back of Shatley as they get around Hilton.
He does it again.
Oh, and he has to catch the truck on the way in as it gets sideways on him. Nicely saved. That'll take some life out of the tires in the process, though.
Every time you use that chrome horn against the truck driver ahead of you, give them one more reason to block you down the straights and into the corners. So you want to make sure that when you use that, it is an opportunity to pass. And look at this, Daniel Knight causing a little bit of problems for Shatley on the entry to 1 and 2, but they should be able to get by him on the straight here.
Knight running in 16th, 3 laps down from the leaders. Ooh, that's a good run to the inside for Battle as we're going to go 3 wide. He's still going to try and hold on to it, but unfortunately he's not quite strong enough on the brakes. Shatley resisting at least for a little bit longer, but this is looking tougher and tougher.
Jalen Battle is being extremely aggressive, and it's one of the things you need to do around here. You need to force those drivers to respect you, force them to respect the positions when you dive low like that. But Brendan Shatley doing a good job of just closing the door and saying, no, this is my position, I'm keeping it.
We'll be starting lap 63 here soon. Still no caution for, well, I suppose about 30 laps now, a little over 30 laps, judging by the last stops we're seeing from the freshest tires out there.
Man, look at this Jalen Battle just with a lot better speed through the corners, and Brendan Shatley, his damage is definitely affecting him at this stage in the run. He's just not able to keep it low to the apex of the corners. Jalen Battle able to snap back to the apex on the exits and get a lot better run. Here he goes.
Manages to get to the inside. Battle's got the desired line through the corner, but not off of it. And look at the grip that Shatley manages to find to deny him. He's been giving instructions with the back of that truck saying stay back 500 feet, but Battle is not listening.
Shatley in the wall a little bit off the exit of that corner coming across the stripe, but that's not going to be enough to slow him down. Jalen Battle not deterred at all. He's really starting to get loose as they exit the corners now.
Peacock is loving this as well. He's managed to re-catch them in all of this fighting. And if they start to tangle, he could get 2 for 1 as Battle may have taken the best out of his tires. He himself is squirming under throttle, trying to get off the corners.
Yeah, Peacock is just grinning at this the entire time, thinking to himself that this is fantastic. You guys keep doing that, and I'll come in with my fresher tires, with my colder tires, and take those positions. Here comes Battle again.
Let's stay with this fight, but just a reminder for our audience, we have a leader in this race. His name's Colton Lane, but he's 2 seconds ahead of this. He's scampered away, and really no one's had any answer for the number 60 ever since the last caution.
Well, Shatley's just been too focused on fighting Jalen Battle to be able to climb up to the back of Colton Lane. Colton Lane is the next truck ahead on track, but almost a full straightaway, in fact, a full straightaway away. So Jalen Battle really kind of creating this gap at the lead because Brendan Chatley has to defend against it.
Here's what's fascinating is Lane's on the same tire strategy as Chatley. They've got the same age tires, but he's getting so much more pace out of them.
Yeah, I think that's because of Chatley's damage that's affecting him on track. Damage in these trucks doesn't affect you that much, but it's possible they had some engine damage, and Chatley getting loose off the corner allows Jalen Battle to get inside.
And he finally sealed the deal. Battle last time couldn't get a good enough launch off the corner, and he's starting to slip back, but he's got a nose in this time. Down into 1 and 2. Still not quite done. He's not clear on the high side, but he gets a much better launch, and there's going to be lap traffic up in front of them. He won't need it. He manages to get through, give P2 finally to the number 28.
See whether he can make something of this as he goes to the inside of the lap truck of Baron Hilton. He's going to have to jump away from Chatley because that battle was long and hard, and Chatley is probably none too incensed with that.
I'm seeing Mark Kalin grayed out. Did he run out of incident points? Because I'm not sure that he lost internet connection. He still seems to be in here. As Adam is going to glance at that, you can see these three. One of the closest fights we've got up at the top, and interestingly, coming up on Bradley Holly to lap him for the 36th time.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that Mark Kalin got too many incident points. I'm not sure what the issue is. It might be connection. We'll have to wait and see.
It was unfortunate because he was one of the few drivers on the lead lap. That will leave us with only 10 now on the lead lap. Robert Malikian is the last of those. He's in the number 81. Definitely got a little bit of damage from one of our cautions. I believe it was the most recent one. You can see the left rear looking pretty minor, at least. A little buckle on the front as well. So nothing really that should be hurting him too badly.
And this has just been a race of attrition. Many of these truck races are, and actually the battle for P6 is actually starting to heat up between Mike Richter and Rob Haynes. Those two guys starting to duke it out a little bit as Richter is diving extremely deep into the corners and has been losing a little bit of time to Haynes recently.
Yeah, Haynes with Shane also behind him. Williams, having dropped back by a huge margin, is no longer anywhere near being our lucky dog. From on board Rob's perspective, looking up ahead, and now we got our caution. It is, trying to figure out who it was. Is it Damon Light potentially?
I think it might be.
Yes, it was. The 17. Single truck incident. Oh, he blew his engine. This is incredibly unusual.
Well, he does have front end damage, Joe, so it's likely that he overheated the engine by shifting down to third through these corners. It's something you can do if you shift too early, downshift too early. He blows his engine and spins with the torque steer coming off the corner.
Well, he's coming off of it though, so it doesn't seem like he's downshifting, unless maybe he was trying to put it in fourth and put it in second by accident.
That actually might be what happened there. Looking at the behavior of the truck coming off the corner.
Meanwhile, our leaders almost all came in. They're not going to take a chance on tires this time. They saw what happened when we got a green flag run before. Colton Lane, of course, going to be the first to come out. Peachock is the one who comes out in second. Battle falls to third, and Chatley falls to fourth.
I think Peachock just took 2 tires, Joe.
I'm seeing an 11-second stop. I think he just had a wicked fast stop here. I think he took all 4. If not, that's an incredibly slow two-tire stop.
No, Joe, it looks to me like he just took 2.
Wow.
And he might have been waiting on fuel.
This is true. Or could have been getting a few repairs while he was at it. But it definitely gifted him second place. And that should put him clear of both Battle and Chatley, who were with him. Shane is now coming in. Sure
Shane
why.
did get the lucky dog, so he is now coming in for his pit stop, and he's now going to join our other 10 drivers on the lead lap.
So it'll go back up to 11. Let's see if we need to wait another time round. Poor Bradley Holly's trying his darndest to make something of this and get a few positions. Again, 34 laps off the leaders. The 184 is back out on track. Our points leader is probably going to consider this one a drop week until he gets a worse result.
Well, Joe, he can climb as high as 20th position, so he can gain 4 more positions right now.
And his last round was going to be his drop week. I think this one should be worse. He got 30 points last time around, but I think that was a 16th position, if I remember correctly.
You guys are witnessing the complete chaos during the wave around that can often happen at Martinsville. Paul Williams is also going to rejoin the lead lap with the wave around.
Oh, and the pace car is already in. So green flag is out and Colton Lane is off down the front stretch. It's a battle for second behind him. Jalen Battle managing to get it away from Frank Peacock, who finally gets into line and puts himself into third.
Yep, they're all single file all the way down to Dominic Eugene and Mike Rickman, who are side by side for the 7th and 8th positions. But so many of these trucks are damaged that it's really hard to see who's going to be able to have pace right now. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're all doing a good job of staying pretty clean at this stage.
LeBaff's theory didn't work too badly because despite him losing a few positions on the last run, he's still 6th, and now he's finally on the same tire strategy as all those around him. You could see the battle behind still raging on as Bashane goes a little bit hot into the corner, and Richter isn't able to finish him off on the way out of the corner, though.
Oh, wow. Richter going extremely deep, so Bajine's just going to do the over-under and cross underneath him and try and get the speed off the corner, but Richter's got a lot more pace in that engine.
Oh, and he almost gets into the back of LeBaff as he goes way wide and nearly runs into Kalen, the lapped car. Thankfully, Kalen was not to his outside at the time, but that will definitely now solidly give 7th to Bajine.
So now that he's used up those rear tires and spun them quite a bit, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Nick Schmeg can pass him, but it looks like Nick Schmeg's down on speed due to some engine damage as well, so it's really hard to tell, Joe, what trucks are going to have pace out here with the damage they have.
Yeah, and that lap traffic is continuing to be a bit of a thorn in the side. Now, I don't think anybody's doing anything ridiculous out there. It's just, unfortunately, they can't disappear, and they're trying to salvage whatever points they can, but there's so many of them. Nick Schmeg, despite having a hard thunk from a couple sides, and one of the wrecks is still running on the lead lap in 9th. Oh, but he messes up the entry, and that's a chain reaction as well. Adam Young, who's surprisingly still out there despite being under the weather, running 14th. That's not for position. Let's watch the catch that Schmeg had.
Oh, he clips that inside curb like you were saying, Joe, earlier on about it being a hazard, and I wasn't worried about Bradley Holly hitting that, but it's really easy to hit that, especially if the truck doesn't behave the way you want, and that gave the opportunity for Adam Young to go through. Nick Schmeg is definitely down on top speed on the straights.
Yeah, Young just needs it to try and climb his way back onto the lead lap. He's got 3 laps to make up, though, in the process.
And Brendan Chatley's going for a pass on Frank Peacock, P3.
He's got the inside. He almost runs it into him on the outside. This also brings Rob Haynes. That's for position there in the number 29. He gets to the inside, almost looks for 3 wide off the corner. They are going to go 3 wide. It is a drag race down into turn 1. Peacock to the outside with the most momentum, but the longest way around to go down to the very inside. Haynes looking to try and get through, and he somehow manages it. They all 3 change positions with Haynes now up into 3rd, Chatley to 4th, and LeBaff actually into 5th as Peacock falls to P6.
5 trucks under a blanket all the way down to Dominic Pagine in P7. These trucks have been duking it out since the start of this green flag run, and they've actually let the top 3 really start to escape. The Colton Lane 2-second gap back to Jalen Battle, who has 1.5 seconds on Rob Haynes, who is the leader of this pack.
Doff your hat to all those drivers involved. I think lesser drivers would have wound up binning it or spinning each other out, but all 5 came out the other side. Bajin in there now, seeing if he can manage to squeak something out of the 55 of Frank Peacock. He's the green truck you see at the end of the tail.
Peacock's been struggling a lot on the exits of the corner. Something happened with his truck setup when he got into that accident, and so he's really struggling to get it down to get the truck to turn at all. So Bajin looks like he's definitely going to be stronger.
Gets a nose to the inside. Oh, really gets a nose to the inside mid-corner. The 55 gets the shot off of turn 4. Still down to the inside. Bajin, the Canadian, is trying to seal the deal and get himself that 6th spot. Just slightly ahead now into turn 3, and it's looking like more and more of a hopeless battle for Peacock, who tries desperately to hold on, but falls farther and farther back down the right rear quarter panel.
Yeah, but Dominic Bajin is not getting a good exit off the corner. He's finally able to clear him this time, but Peacock still having speed. He's going to come back at him, but look at this. They're getting all these lap tracks. This is really just kind of a mess out there, Joe.
Yeah, and they're on different laps too. That was Sumner who's trying to be lapped by Hunter. Hunter trying to be lapped by the trucks on the lead lap. They're still dealing with it fairly well considering the circumstances. We've had 3 cautions thus far.
I'd like to talk about Paul Williams' situation right now. Paul Williams down in the 12th position. He is the fastest runner for the other guy's team of William Hartman and himself, and he's now on the lead lap, but because of the way that the wave around works on this track, you only get to the middle of the back straight before the track goes green. So he is a good 10 seconds off the back of Nick Schmeg, who's the next, who's up in 10th position. And that's kind of the beginning of the front runners. And so he's got a long way to go, or another caution, if he's going to try and battle for the lead.
Small correction, Williams racing for 24/7 Motorsports. But yeah, this is exactly what he wants. He's the only truck on a 1 lap down lap right now. So it'll be very hard for anybody to overtake him. If he gets that next caution, he will be brought back on the lead lap. That could offer some more opportunities to gain some more points, or at least keep him from going down. And Bajin, since getting past Peacock, has not only left him behind, he's coming up on the back of John LaBaffe.
Yeah, I think he's going to start to compress that group again that we've seen battling since the beginning. So Dominic Bajin closing in on the back of John LaBaffe. He's going to have to make this work quickly if he's going to try and stay with Brendan Chatley as Chatley charges forward towards Haynes.
In front of all of this, we also have Colton Lane, still our leader. And yet again, he's proved to have much better pace than everybody else. He's stretched it out to 1.5 seconds over Jalen Battle.
Yeah, Colton Lane just proving that he really has a good understanding of this course and these trucks. Just doing his best to manage the hot temperatures. It's 109 degrees on track right now. And he's doing a good job of managing those temperatures, managing that tire wear, and just keeping himself clean and not making any big mistakes right now. But Dominic Bajin making a move on John LaBaffe for P5.
Managed to get to the inside, but LaBaffe is doing a good job running that high line and fends off the 66. They come down into 3 and 4, and this time no dive to the inside from the Canadian.
LaBaffe just drove straight down towards the apex of the corner early on the straight, and wow, he's going to slide through the corner this time. That gives a good opportunity to Bajin if he can get a good exit. He's got one. LaBaffe looking to defend, but he's not going to. Bajin decides to stay behind.
That's Williams just in front of them as we were riding on the gearbox of LaBaffe there. He's going to let them to the inside. He's got no horse in this race, so to speak.
It is going to compromise Dominic Bajin's exit.
Really did. If anything, that brought him back into the clutches of Peacock behind.
Oh!
Whoa! That's some wheel spin if I ever saw some. He's managing to stay to the inside of Peacock, but he's chopped off at the apex. The 55 moves back up into 6th position.
And that's how quick it can happen around here, Joe. It could just snap on you, and then you lose a position or two, especially if the trucks are compressed like they are right now. And Dominic Machine really struggling on exit, even while we're in this replay.
We've come back live now. Wonder if he burned him off. We've been going for about 30 laps. So this has been a decent amount of time that these drivers have been out there. Boy, have a spare thought for Paul Williams. He's out on 84, 85 lap old tires because he didn't pit last time to get himself an extra lap back. Seen a few others that employed similar strategy. Austin Hunter on 70 lap old tires. Charles Sumner as well.
Yeah, fortunately for Williams, though, he doesn't have any more contention for, well, right now, for the Lucky Dog, but Colton, I mean, he's got Robert Malikian only 2 seconds ahead of him, so Colton might be able to pass Malikian here and make him once again into the Lucky Dog truck.
And Malikian's on the lead lap.
Precisely.
Okay. I get where you're going.
Yeah.
Oh, and there you go right there. Looks like Williams will be the lucky dog because we got a caution.
Trevor White.
Yes. I think it was a mix of him losing it and having a little help, and that was our 2nd place truck. No, he didn't touch him. Jalen Battle averting disaster.
Yeah, Jalen Battle just hitting the brakes, hitting the binders, making sure he slows down for that one. Really good awareness for Jalen Battle to not hit Trevor White.
Things, as we're watching the replay one more time, but just an update for our viewers in live time. Colton Lane has stayed out, but Battle has gone in. LeBaff has stayed out. Haynes stayed out. Wow, mixed strategy for a couple of front runners. This paid dividends for some people last round.
Williams gets the lucky dog, so he'll come in and get off of those 80-year-old tires.
80-year-old tires?
That's what it feels like when you're driving them, Joe.
I'm sure it does. Boy, I'd hate to be trying to run on those. But Colton Lane and John LeBaff obviously feeling confident. Malikian going to come around and take a stop a little bit later. Williams getting his. Now this promotes Bajin up to 3rd, it looks like. I think? No? Battle has come back out in 3rd. So Battle loses a spot. Haynes is down to 4th. Chatley into P5.
Well, with the way they've been running, Joe, this might be our last caution. So those who just came into the pits are going to have significant tire strategy on the 2 guys who are out front, Colton Lane and John LeBaff. But 37 lap old tires we've seen are not that much of a deterrence as long as you can manage not to spin them on the start.
And for all of my saying we need to be worried about the time limit in this race, we've got 25 laps to go with 13 minutes on the clock right now, which isn't too bad. Once we go back to green, I think if we go green the whole way, we should easily be within the time limit.
I think we're going to finish with 4 or 5 minutes to spare if we go green.
Going to double up this time. Yes, indeed. Lights are out. Is Lane going to be regretting this decision? Or is he expecting more cautions? That could be his play here, thinking that they aren't going to be able to get much green flag until the end, and nobody will be able to take advantage of those fresh tires. So the pace car is in. And Colton Lane has control of the field. He's been quicker than everybody when the tires are even. What about when it's a little bit of an uneven fight? He's on the throttle as the green flag comes out. He gets a fantastic jump over John LeBaff, who's used similar strategy to get himself in this position, and a big wreck.
The 55 of Peacock got sent around.
And that also...
Still green, though, I think, isn't it?
involved. It's no, caution is out. Telez was the other involved in that. Telez actually could have an innocent victim, just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
So you're gonna watch Mike Richter. Yeah, you're gonna watch Mike Richter get into the back of Peacock here as they go into turn 1.
If I was Peacock, I would not be happy about that one.
It seemed like he just kind of got ran over there. Richter really blew his braking point through there and wasn't able to slow down even with the extra weight of Peacock until halfway through the corner.
Richter just got on the radio saying he tried to straighten him out. Don't think it worked, Mike. You can see that Telez was there also getting into the incident at the very end of it. So this worked out great for Lane. Like I said, he was hoping that nobody would really be able to use those fresh tires much. They're still going to have a restart before the race is over, though.
Oh, we have a truck that's spun under caution. That's the 51 of Mike Richter.
Oh, no. And he just ran into Hunter in the process.
I mean,
stuck.
This is an interesting incident. Let's see what happened here.
Everybody was trying to get around him, and he thought that he had a little bit of clear track. I don't think he made too hard a contact with Hunter, so I think Hunter's okay. Here's the initial spin, and then watch how long he gets stuck here.
You know what's crazy about this, Joe? The iRacing officials have deemed him worthy to get back into his position in 8th place. So even after all that, he's going to be able to jump back up to 8th.
We've also had Williams, who, well, he was supposed to be back on the lead lap, I thought, wasn't he?
Yeah, he must have some kind of damage that we don't know about, Joe, because he continues to take pit stops instead of get his lap back. So this is very interesting. But he's done it again. He's come back into the pits and waited until the last possible second to pull out. So,
all right. So your new order up at the front is Lane, Battle, LaBaff, Haynes, Chatley, and Bajin are your first 3 rows. They are not double file yet, though. We're down to just under 10 minutes left, now with less than 20 laps to go. I think we might still be able to get it within the time limit.
Yeah, I think we're still going to be able to squeak in with about 2 minutes to spare.
Should double up this time by. Lane certainly doesn't want it to go green all the way to the end.
And Williams into the pits again, so he's definitely out of contention for running this win. He's got something going on that we don't know about that he's working hard on.
Well, the good news for him is that Hartman and Hawley are still both behind him by a long margin. Hartman is DNF'd. Hawley is down in 22nd. So his main 2 rivals are of no worry. The pace car is now in. Colton Lane with control once again. 45 lap old tires. Green flag is out. He checks them up for quite a while. That actually works to his advantage. He manages to get clear of Jalen Battle, who slots into second. Oh, but he's got very strong tires, and he knows it. He's going to try to get to the inside, but he's covered off. That's going to open up the outside lane as we got Nick Schmeg up into the wall behind them. I don't think
keeping it clean. We're still going.
No caution, but look at how messy it is, and Colton Lane is suffering up on the high side. That is Rob Haynes. They get into each other, and they turn around. That's going to bring a few trucks involved, including John LaBaff.
What? Oh.
So Haynes, was he squeezing Lane down to the bottom, or was that Lane drifting up?
I think it was a little bit of both, Joe. It just was, I mean, this is just one of those racing incidents that's really difficult. I think he was trying to squeeze him a little bit, didn't realize that he was drifting up. What a rough accident.
Poor Jalen Battle caught a lot of it, and then I mentioned LaBaff. There was a small touch for Brennan Chatley, but I think he got away without much damage. But in spite of that, Colton Lane is still our leader. Bajin is now in second. We're going to watch one more time here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you could expect Colton to stay any lower than that coming off the corner. He was expecting Haynes to drift out to the outside and take the outside lane, but I think, yeah, it's just, I don't know what to make of that, Jeff.
We've also got Adam Young is the lucky dog getting his lap back. I think this will put him on the lead lap, will it not? Or is it one lap down?
We'll find out this time around, but
I think he'll still be one lap down, it looks like. So that'll leave us with 11 cars on the lead lap, the last of which is now John LaBaff. He cycles backwards. Where is Peacock? Because he was the last one on the lead lap after last time, because he was involved in that incident. But he's now back up to 7th. If you like a position, don't get too attached to it. You're only going to be there for a little while, it seems.
yeah, especially with Nick Schmeg going up towards the wall, it freaked out everyone in front of Peacock, and Peacock just kind of drove around the bottom of the track right underneath him. So he definitely benefited from a little bit of panic.
Again, I've been trying to keep everybody up to date on the championship situation. Williams going to lose a little bit, but not as badly as you could have feared. It's Brennan Shatley, who is in 4th in the points. Where is he right now? He is sitting in P6. So he's actually doing the best out of our top 5. LaBaff now being slotted down into 11th. Chatley is only about 5 points back from Williams, too. So he might actually overtake Williams on points and move himself into 3rd, depending on how these last few laps go, because the lights are off on the pace car, which has already come into the pit lane, and Colton Lane, holding the low lane, is going to restart with Bajin up high on lap 131. Let's see what he's got with 5 minutes left on the clock. Green flag is out. There's a big checkup from Bajin. A little bit of bumping and banging, but they get it going. It's 3 wide the high side, and unfortunately falls back.
Woohoo, it's really spreading out back there. Almost 4.
And Shatley, who is eager to make up positions, drifts way out.
3 there. Look at this, the 29 truck of Rob Haynes really sliding up the track, but Dominic Bajin challenging Colton Lane for the lead.
And he manages to get it. Bajin manages to squeak through on the fresher tires than Colton Lane, and he is off like a shot. Colton has no answer for him. The Canadian is looking a victory square in the eyes with 9 laps left to go.
It looks like Colton Lane might be down a little bit on top speed, but Dominic Bajin's got to race consistent. He can't get into the corners that deep. He's got to be really, really careful. All he has to do is just race clean. He does not have to race hard. He has to leave that to Colton Lane. He's just got to race clean and do what he knows how to do.
He might get a caution at some point because it's awful messy behind them. Jalen Battle, who's down on speed because he just made contact, losing positions. That's going to give one to Chatley as well as to Richter, and it was with Peacock that he had the contact. What is going on?
That was huge contact. Mike Richter into the wall, and now we've got an accident. That's 59 of Brendan Chatley getting sent around by Jalen Battle in the corner, and now a huge accident. That's going to be a caution.
He gets hit a second time, and that means that LaBaff now is our best position driver of the top 5, as Chatley unfortunately gets sent backwards with 3 minutes left. Does this mean we get a green-white checker with a 1-lap shootout?
I think we're still good on time, so it might be a full green-white checker. We will see. It's going to be close.
Let's see, it's 5 to go. There's the pace car picking up Bajin. Haynes is going to be on the low side of lane, which is awful news for the number 60, because if they do get a restart, Haynes on the same lap old tires as Bajin is going to be able to just absolutely dunk him underwater in seconds here, just by getting on the throttle with more grip underneath. What an absolutely bizarre race. I asked whether or not we would get a more unpredictable race, a crazier race than we saw at Iowa, and well, this is starting to seem like it counts.
All right, so Adam Young getting the lucky dog now. He's going to get onto the lead lap if he does not pit. If he pits, we saw this happen with Paul Williams. He'll get trapped in the pits with the pit lane exit closed, and he won't be able to get out back on the lead lap. But wow, this race really starting to spice up for sure.
2 minutes left now on the clock. I'm not sure that we'll be able to get around before the clock runs out. We'll find out soon enough. It's now 3 to go, going to be 2 to go next time by. So even if they do double up, it will be a one-lap shootout.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a one-lap shootout no matter how we slice it here. So it just depends on whether or not it happens after the time expires or not.
Exactly.
They're doing 40-second laps now, so they could get 3 laps in, which would put us into a green-white checker. Yes, this is the final caution where we'll try for a green-white checker finish.
Okay. And they are single file. So this should be a full green-white checker, if I'm understanding correctly. Apologies to the audience. The GWC with the timed races is still a little bit confusing at times as far as how the rules go. So we're going to try and make sure that we clear it up for you and for us.
It looks like it is currently stretching the race into a 2-lap finish. So we'll see. I think they're going to double up this time around. They are. No, it looks like I don't know what it's going to be. It might be 1 lap, so it might be 2.
It was 30 seconds at the line, so that's less than a pace lap. We'll find out with you. So we'll keep watching because we should have less than 3 to go. I'm pretty sure, though. That don't pay attention to that timer, as it is now under control of Dominic Bigine down to the low side. Is it going to be a 1 or 2 lap shootout? He accelerates very quickly to try and deny any opportunity for Lane to get by him. I just got the call for 2 laps to go. We've got the final
green
lap,
and white,
though.
so yep, I think that Dominic Bigine's going to have this unless he makes a big mistake into the corner. Wow, they're really stacking up behind him. He's going to come off, and he's going to cross the line for the checker.
That's it. Dominic Bigine is our winner here today. Colton Lane manages to hold them off for second. Rob Haynes with third behind him. How about Frank Peacock? It looked like he was not going to have anything and then came back for fourth. But it was John LeBaff, the highest of our top 5 in the points, to salvage anything. And he was only 8th today. So expect some big changes in the points. We're going to try and sort this all out during the break. Congratulations to Bigine. Stick around because we'll have the unofficial results as well as driver interviews on screen. One thing that you will for sure see, though, is all of the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. If you're confused about how things ended, let's try and clear it all up. The one thing we know for sure is that here in the PRL NASCAR Cup Series, Dominic Bejean won round 6 and Colton Lane came in second. Rob Haynes squeaked through to a third place with Frank Peacock managing to climb his way back forward to fourth. Mike Richter with a top 5 from 20th in qualifying. How about that? Bejean, by the way, was also 17th, so both of them coming from a long ways towards the end of the field. Jalen Battle with a P6 and Adam Shane with 7th. John LaBaff manages 8th after qualifying in 19th. He should get at least a couple positions here in the points from that. Robert Malikian finishes P9. Top 10 rounded out by Nick Schmeg.
Brendan Chatley, after getting involved in that final caution, comes home P11 with Adam Young, your last lead lap trucker, coming home in 12th position. Paul Williams is going to come home in 13th. A good points day for him, all things considered, with his damage, with Adam Zemke coming home in 14th, Nick Hunter in 15th, Austin Hunter in 16th, and Trevor White, after a couple of spins, comes home in 17th position, with Charles Sumner, Robert Besaw Jr., and Blaine Adams rounding out your top 20.
21st goes to Barron Hilton with Bradley Hawley in 22nd. Then you start to get into some DNFs. Mark Kalin lost internet connection partway through the race. Daniel Knight behind them. Josue Telez, Rachel Hunt, William Hartman second in the championship points, but second to last today in 27th. Doyle Lawrence 28th with Zach Zwar. It did not start today. We have our winner ready to talk to us. Dominic Bejean joins us in the booth. Dominic, I asked some of the drivers last week if they had a plan coming into Martinsville. Did you have a plan, or was this just take whatever comes at you? Dominic, do you have a copy? Looks like Dominic may not have his mic fully set up quite yet. We haven't got to talk to him in quite a while, if ever, I think, for the PRL series. So it might not have really gotten used to getting everything all put together. Oh, looks like he's going to have to get that sorted out. So we've brought in second place Colton Lane. Adam is going to talk to him about his race.
Yeah, definitely. Colton, as you were racing on that second to last restart and Dominic Bejean started to get that run on you, like, that was a really tough pass that he made on that part of the track. How did you handle trying to race him with those older tires?
I mean, you just couldn't push it harder than you had because they were so old. I mean, they were about, I think, 30 laps old, maybe 30 laps of green, and I probably should have pitted there. It might not have even been a contest if I did, thankfully, because, Bradley Hawley and William Hartman wrecked out, but, it's just, something you got to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of those two, a good points day for you coming home in second position. I'm sure Bradley's thankful for that for the team's championship. How was the race from your perspective? Was it a real challenge with all the lap trucks?
No, most of the lap trucks are really courteous. I think the only time that there was an issue was a lap truck had gotten loose in the corner, and they happened to be on the low side, and I think they were going to go high. I'm not sure, but they almost spun out and got me. I made like a little girl squeal on the iRacing radio chatter, which thankfully y'all didn't hear, but
Definitely. Well, next week we go to Texas Motor Speedway. Next week we go to Texas Motor Speedway. What are you thinking with going into that track? Definitely a way different track than this one.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought I would have ran better than Texas than Martinsville. I honestly didn't think I had speed tonight, but I just guess I had good long run speed. My short run speed wasn't as good, but hopefully next week we can get back up here in the booth from Texas and get another top 3 finish, maybe even seal the deal on the Wednesday league for getting my first win on the truck, but we'll see.
Definitely, Colton. Well, it's good to talk to you, and fantastic finish today. P2 on track. Good work today.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
That was Colton Lane, second place. And Joe, we're going to try Dominic Bejean again.
Yeah, yep. It's working now.
There we go. We've got you loud and clear, Dominic. I'll repeat the question I had before. Did you have a plan coming in, or was this just winging it?
Yeah, I didn't want to start into the front or the middle pack, so I try to just get out of the way at the start and just wait for the few racks to try to start racing after that, and it kind of worked.
Towards the end of the race, we had some long green flag runs in the middle, and then suddenly we had a spate of cautions. So, what made you ultimately decide to get tires when you did? Because that certainly seemed to be the factor that gave you the win in the end.
Yeah, well, there were not too many cars on the lead lap, so I figure out if I get tires right now, I might have a good chance if we get a few green laps until the end, and that worked out pretty well because I think a few guys up front didn't take tires out, so I fared pretty well.
I'd say you did. That certainly was a winning move. Ultimately, though, we saw very few people come away without damage on their trucks. How do you go about avoiding a lot of the wrecks that happen other than just sending yourself to the back? Because eventually you've got to try and make your way to the front. So what's the secret for you?
Well, in this track, I try to keep on the inside lane most of the time because I think we get more space in there to avoid a hit if there's some, unlike the outside lane, which I think is a little more dangerous. But I think overall, it might be more than luck than anything because in this track, like Bristol, you just cut it or you don't. It's the way it happens.
Well, congratulations on a victory. You are our fifth different winner out of 6 races. So pretty varied out here, despite the championship up till now being pretty one-sided. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you in Texas.
I hope so. See you guys.
That was Dominic Begine. And then up next, I've got third place finisher Rob Haynes with me as well. Rob, you qualified in third and you finished in third. If you really didn't want to relive tonight, I guess you could just tell everybody you had a boring race.
I guess so, Joe. Yeah, it was it was an eventful race. It was far from boring.
It certainly seemed like that. I went back to check and see kind of what you went through. It looked like you held just about every position from 15th to 1st at some point.
Yeah, I was moving through the field and got a couple of interruptions here and there, but managed to pull off a podium tonight, and I'm thankful for that. Joe, it was a good race, man, up until the end there when all the cautions started flying. But you expect that kind of at Martinsville. Everybody gets pushy, shovey at the end, and everybody wants to go. Some guys are on fresh tires, some guys are on older tires, some guys are on 2. It's all about, I guess, track position at that point.
Certainly seemed like that was an important factor out there today. But next week, we're going over to Texas, and that's going to be back to the 1.5 milers like we had at Kansas. Do you anticipate you'll be able to fare as well, or are you any good at the cookie cutters?
Yeah, I like those Texas tracks. I can run pretty fast there, get a good line, and adapt as the race goes. I mean, that's something you got to do in these cars and these trucks. You got to adapt. You got to be able to adapt to the changing conditions, and that's what I'm liking about this new format here and new iRacing rules and things. Yeah, we're having fun.
Well, it looks fun from up here. It looks a little bit chaotic, at least in days like today. Congratulations on a top 3, sir.
I appreciate it, Joe. I'd like to give a shout out to you guys at GSRC. GSRC, thanks for doing what you do, and definitely out to Brendan Chatley, the owner here, and Savona Chiropractic for putting the sponsor on this truck. I've had a couple of horrifying finishes this year, but I'm working towards a better stance here.
Fantastic. Well, glad you got to give your sponsor a shout out here today. That was third place finisher Rob Haynes, and that's going to close out our interviews. Of course, we want to give a big thank you to PRL for bringing us back for another season of coverage here with the Truck Series on Wednesday nights. But also a thank you goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screens. Additional thanks go out to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And also to the team today, Sean, Adam, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check us out on social media. Our Twitter is at GSR Channel, Facebook, Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram, GSRC_Gram. Head on over to our YouTube page and make sure that you subscribe. If you haven't yet, you'll know it because the subscribe button will be large and red. Click it, you won't miss a thing here on the GSRC. As we mentioned, the next race is going to be down south. That'll be Texas on Wednesday, October 30th, just before Halloween at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.